The PARS 4x4 Wheeled Armoured Combat Vehicle is a deliberately compact, high-agility platform that distills the FNSS design philosophy into a four-crew vehicle optimized for reconnaissance, anti-tank ambush, security, command, and specialist roles. Within the wider PARS family, the 4x4 is not a derivative afterthought but a purpose-built solution balancing mobility, survivability, and digital integration in a package measuring approximately 5 meters in length, 2.6 meters in width, and 3.1 meters overall height, with a low 2.1 meter hull roof that helps reduce visual and thermal signature. A power-to-weight ratio on the order of 25 horsepower per ton underwrites brisk acceleration and the ability to sustain tempo over mixed terrain, while a fully automatic transmission and an all-wheel drive driveline make the vehicle responsive to driver inputs in complex microterrain or urban confines. The design is equally pragmatic about strategic mobility, sized and outfitted for air transport on common tactical and strategic platforms including the C-130H, A400, C-17, and C-5, which allows units to deploy rapidly with mission kits installed rather than depending on theater-level upfitting. The chassis is tuned for off-road performance without sacrificing on-road stability. Independent double-wishbone suspension with helical springs at each corner, long will travel, and careful weight distribution preserve tire contact patches on broken ground and dampen shocks that would otherwise fatigue the crew and sensitive electronics. The result is credible cross-country mobility backed by hard, measurable performance figures, a 70% gradient, 40% side slope stability, a 0.4 meter vertical obstacle clearance, and the ability to traverse trenches up to 0.8 meters. The turning radius of roughly 7.5 meters allows the driver to position for short, precise exposure during shoot-and-scoot drills or to thread alleyways and courtyards in dense urban areas. On paved surfaces the PARS 4x4 reaches up to 110 km per hour, sustaining a road range exceeding 700 km on internal fuel, which is a decisive attribute for reconnaissance and security missions where endurance equates to time on station. Hydraulic service brakes with anti-lock control at each will keep stopping behavior predictable across surface conditions, while the spring-activated, hydraulically released parking brake integral to the driveline ensures secure holds on uneven ground and simplifies hull-down staging on inclines. Survivability is engineered as a layered system rather than a single metric. Baseline ballistic protection is compliant with STANAG 4569 standards at a level classified to the user, providing a credible shield against small arms and fragment threats in the vehicle's class, with a growth path for applique packages where the threat picture demands it. Underbody shaping and energy management combine with anti-blast seating, spall liners, and disciplined internal stowage to mitigate mine and improvised explosive device effects, again aligned with STANAG 4569 criteria at a classified level. An automatic fire suppression system is standard, reflecting the reality that survivability includes post-hit resilience as much as it does initial resistance. 8 smoke grenade dischargers provide immediate, local obscuration to break enemy line of sight and disrupt laser range finding or missile seekers, and a full CBRN protection suite with overpressure and filtration is fitted as standard to keep crews fighting in contaminated environments. Environmental control is not treated as an afterthought. A robust air conditioning and heating system supports crew endurance and sensor reliability across temperature extremes, which is vital for long-dwell reconnaissance tasks. Where the PARS 4x4 distinguishes itself within its weight and size class is in the breadth and depth of armament and sensor options hosted on a digital backbone. The vehicle can be configured as a dedicated anti-tank weapon carrier using the ARCT remote-controlled turret. This stabilized mount integrates twin missile canisters capable of firing contemporary guided munitions such as Kornet-E, Mizrak-O, and Skif, among others, and pairs them with a 7.62 mm coaxial machine gun for close-in suppression. For users prioritizing flexible overwatch and patrol tasks, the SANCAK remotely controlled weapon station offers a universal, ballistic protected mount that accepts a 12.7 mm heavy machine gun, a 7.62 mm machine gun, or a 40 mm automatic grenade launcher. Where higher direct fire density and extended reach are required, the SANCAK 30 turret adds a stabilized 30mm automatic cannon, bringing the ability to defeat light armored threats, structure standoff, and dismount concentrations at range. In all weapon configurations, the fire control suite is fully modern, with day and thermal imaging channels, a laser rangefinder, a stabilized electric turret drive, and a gunner's control system that supports precise engagements from short halts and rapid target transitions. The commander's independent sight option enables true hunter-killer and killer-killer workflows so that scanning, designation, and engagement occur in parallel rather than sequentially, compressing the sensor-to-shooter cycle to seconds. Mission systems are built on an open electrical architecture compliant with MIL-STD-1275 and MIL-STD-461, ensuring power quality, electromagnetic compatibility, and straightforward integration of customer-specific radios, encryption devices, and electronic warfare payloads. A standard auxiliary power unit allows silent watch with sensors running while minimizing main engine signatures and fuel burn, a decisive benefit for reconnaissance hides and urban overwatch. Command and control software, Blue Force tracking, and battle management terminals integrate seamlessly with navigation systems to produce a unified tactical picture that can be shared across echelons. Communications are supported across VHF and UHF bands with secure voice and data, and a crew intercom system streamlines coordination within the vehicle during high-tempo engagements and complex maneuvers. The underpinning digital spine also permits rapid adoption of counter-UAS sensors and effectors, loitering munition control consoles, and compact ground surveillance radars without wholesale rewiring or disruptive downtime. The amphibious capability is not an optional curiosity but a standard feature that materially shapes how units can maneuver. With a water speed of approximately 6.5 km per hour, the vehicle can self-deploy across rivers, canals, and littoral obstacles that would otherwise require bridging assets, enabling lateral movement and flank changes that complicate an opponent's targeting and reconnaissance calculus. Amphibious mobility pairs with the PARS 4x4's modest silhouette to support low-signature infiltration along watercourses and to sustain dispersed, multi-axis operations where avoiding predictability is as valuable as raw protection. In doctrinal terms, this extends the vehicle's utility from the purely terrestrial screen line to the broader reconnaissance security fight in mixed terrain, allowing commanders to posture fires and sensors on the far bank without waiting for heavy bridging or engineer support. These characteristics cohere in employment concepts that exploit speed, standoff, and information advantage rather than armor mass. In the anti-armor ambush role, teams of PARS 4x4 vehicles use microterrain and urban clutter to mask movement, rely on the panoramic and thermal sights to generate early detection at long standoff, and then prosecute with top attack or direct attack missiles from defilade. Smoke dischargers and pre-planned obscuration from adjacent elements create a time window for disengagement, after which the vehicles use their 110 km/h road performance and tight turning radius to reposition along alternate routes. In reconnaissance, mast-mounted electro-optics and compact radars augment the baseline sights to detect, classify, and track targets across a broad sector, while the Silent Watch APU and CBRN protection keep crews in hides for extended periods without fatigue or contamination risk. As a command and control node, the same mobility and protection that enable forward basing also secure the staff and equipment necessary to synchronize dispersed fires and maneuver, with the open architecture making it straightforward to host multiple radios and SATCOM terminals. The platform's operational logic and feature set compare favorably with peers in the 4x4 armored category. Against general-purpose light-protected vehicles such as the ARCT Sherpa Light or Oshkosh JLTV, the PARS 4x4 leans more decisively into anti-tank and reconnaissance specialization, offering a factory-integrated missile turret and high-end sighting as a core configuration rather than a fielded retrofit. Compared with regional competitors such as the Otokar Cobra II, the Neural Ejder Yalçın, and the NIMR Ajban, the PARS 4x4 places relatively greater emphasis on amphibious mobility and a nuanced fire control and sensor suite, albeit with a smaller protected volume for dismounts. Where MIL-AP-style designs excel in blast resistance and payload, they typically impose penalties in turning radius, side slope agility, and amphibious capability that become constraining in reconnaissance security and anti-armor ambush roles. The PARS 4x4's 70% gradient, 40% side slope, and 7.5 meter turning radius numbers speak directly to this differentiation in practical terms. Crew integration and human factors design are vital enablers of this performance envelope. The 4-person crew benefits from wide-angle cameras for closed-hatch driving, thermal imaging for degraded visual environments, and workstations laid out to reduce cognitive load during multi-sensor operations. Climate control, noise and vibration management, and disciplined stowage for missiles, belts, and personal equipment sustain endurance on long missions and reduce reconfiguration time when switching roles. Because the platform is intended to host specialists, ranging from reconnaissance and target acquisition teams to CBRN technicians with sampling kits, its interior is arranged to support rapid role-based workflows. The standardization of components and line-replaceable units, together with accessible engine bays and modular weapon stations, reduces mean time to repair and simplifies unit-level maintenance, increasing availability without inflating the logistics tail. Strategically, a vehicle with these attributes strengthens a force's ability to implement distributed lethality and defense in depth. The combination of 25 horsepower per ton, amphibious mobility, and a credible suite of anti-armor and overwatch weapons lets light forces impose costs on heavier formations while remaining hard to fix and finish. In practical campaign terms, that means more resilient screening forces, more dynamic security zones, and more flexible counter-reconnaissance operations that are less dependent on heavy engineer and bridging assets. The fact that the vehicle is sized for standard airlifters, C-130H, A400, C-17, C-5, adds a strategic layer to this flexibility, enabling rapid theater entry and lateral repositioning between sectors or even theaters without bespoke shipping arrangements, and allowing coalition partners to share lift burdens. The PARS 4x4's technological innovations are evolutionary in isolation but transformative in their integration. Stabilized day/thermal optics allied to a precise laser rangefinder and a responsive electric turret drive fundamentally change the time constants of the engagement process, especially when combined with a commander's independent sight and a digital architecture that can ingest and share target data from unmanned systems. The electrical system's compliance with military standards ensures that adding counter-UAS sensors, loitering munition consoles, or new radio waveforms does not destabilize power quality or introduce electromagnetic vulnerabilities. The standard APU turns the vehicle into a patient hunter, able to dwell with sensors powered and engine off, and the amphibious drive expands the geometry of maneuver. These are not niche technologies but carefully chosen building blocks that anticipate a battlefield saturated with sensors and precision fires, where survivability stems from remaining hard to detect and quick to act. Suitably equipped, the vehicle's armament suite scales from security and convoy overwatch to decisive anti-armor action. A SANCAK remote weapon station with a 12.7mm machine gun or a 40mm automatic grenade launcher delivers versatile effects in urban and mixed terrain with minimal collateral exposure. Uparming to the SANCAK 30 introduces accurate, stabilized 30mm fire with programmable ammunition options where available, which is valuable for engaging defilated infantry, light armor, and drones at tactically relevant ranges. The ARCT turret with Kornet-E, Mizrak-O, Skif, or analogous missiles gives the vehicle a standoff kill chain against main battle tanks and heavy infantry fighting vehicles, leveraging long-range thermal identification and laser ranging to achieve first-round effects before the opponent can bring stabilized cannon or anti-tank guided weapons to bear. The standard 7.62mm coaxial machine gun complements all of these configurations by providing accurate, low-signature suppression and the ability to walk fire onto fleeting targets. A final measure of value lies in how well the platform aligns with user sovereignty and lifecycle agility. The PARS 4x4 is architected to admit local radios, encryption, identification systems, and national missiles without forcing fundamental redesign, and its compliance with MIL-STD power and electromagnetic standards reduces integration friction. The combination of all-wheel drive, independent suspension, amphibious capability, and a durable diesel power pack yields a mobility baseline that will remain relevant as sensors and weapons evolve. With command and control, navigation, and intercom equipment provided as standard, along with a modern electrical backbone and APU, the vehicle arrives as a complete node in the digital battlespace rather than a bare hull awaiting systems. In an era defined by rapid adaptation, that integrative maturity is as important as any single specification. Taken in total, the PARS 4x4 Wheeled Armoured Combat Vehicle presents a coherent, deeply considered answer to contemporary light armored requirements. It blends a measured level of ballistic and mine protection with speed, agility, amphibious movement, and long-endurance operations enabled by Silent Watch, and it offers a graduated armament ladder from remote weapon stations to stabilized 30mm cannons and top-tier anti-tank missiles. Its numbers, 25 horsepower per ton, 110 km per hour on road, more than 700 km of range, 70% gradient and 40% side slope, 8 smoke dischargers, and 6.5 km per hour in water, are not marketing abstractions but operational levers that commanders can plan around. In comparison with peers, it emphasizes specialization in reconnaissance and anti-armor while preserving enough modularity to shift quickly into command, security, or CBRN roles. For armed forces seeking to extend their eyes and reach, harden their screens, and inject distributed lethality without the footprint of heavy armor, the PARS 4x4 offers a balanced, future-resilient platform whose design choices map closely to the emerging realities of high-resolution, high-tempo land warfare.